together like this. So thank you. Thank you for always bearing with me. Thank you for always sending prayers and good wishes. I know for certain that I am absolutely living off of all of those prayers and blessings and well wishes. So please, please keep sending them. And there's so much to do and so little time. So without further ado, we'll dive completely into the nectar as quickly as humanly possible. Om Ajnanatirmirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindubhyeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So it is Ekadashi. Not only is it Ekadashi, but it is Ekadashi during the month of Kartik. How incredibly auspicious. How incredibly joyous and monumentous is this occasion. And if we are not necessarily feeling that the occasion is monumentous, let's fake it till we make it. Let's pretend as though we can understand a little bit of how monumentous this situation is for us. For us to all have come together at this place at this time is something that is unfathomable. I was listening to a lecture by Srila Prabhupada, and the devotees were asking Srila Prabhupada kind of the time lapse. They were talking about a day of Lord Brahma, how long this takes, and when Krishna comes within that one day of Brahma. And Srila Prabhupada was working out the math with the devotees so patiently, might I add. So patiently he was working out the math with the devotees, waiting for them to come with the right answers and make their calculations and see what was coming up. And it was concluded that Sri Krishna, and then as a follow-up, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu makes his advent once every 9 billion years, roughly. We have all somehow or other gotten to know the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the mercy of Lord Krishna. This is a once in a 9 billion year opportunity. So I encourage all of us, and I'm speaking to myself as much as anybody else, to take these opportunities as seriously as possible, to be as joyful as possible, because pretty much the impossible has occurred. The impossible has occurred. The universe has shifted. Time has bent. All of the right opportunities and all of the streams and the rivers of life have come together to converge upon this moment. This section of Bhagavatam that has been discussed is really speaking about a lot of wealth. Yudhishthira Maharaj is performing a Rajasuya Yajna. He has actually performed this Rajasuya sacrifice. And now we have gone back to try and figure out, well, what else has happened? What other details in there are available to us? And Parikshit Maharaj is asking very poignant questions. Why? It seemed as though everything was going relatively okay. And after this Rajasuya Yajna, then there was this enmity that could not be snuffed out no matter what. So we've been talking about a lot of wealth. Yudhishthira Maharaj, it required a lot of wealth to perform a Rajasuya Yajna, but then it also brought a lot of wealth together after this Rajasuya Yajna was performed. And so what actually is this wealth? Do we have any of that wealth available to us? Okay, well, no, because we don't simply have mountains of gold waiting for us to use them. But is that the wealth that we want most? Notice I said that we want most. I didn't say is that the wealth that we want, because I know myself. And if somebody were to say, you know what, Achita Gopi, I've understood what you need. Here's a mountain of gold. I can't say that I am such an advanced devotee that I would be willing to shun this mountain of gold. So I'm not going to say, is that the wealth that we want? Because, maybe yes, to use in the service, of course. Is that the wealth that we want most? No. So what is this wealth that Yudhishthira Maharaj had so much of? Yes, there was a lot of tangible wealth. But really what he had was Krishna's constant association. Really what he had was his dearmost friend, confidant, advisor. In fact, this section starts off speaking about how Yudhishthira Maharaj was seated on a golden throne. And because I really like to hear Srila Prabhupada's thoughts on things, I was looking at the section in Krishna book where we have Srila Prabhupada's ecstasies condensed and cooked down for us. So, once upon a time, King Yudhishthira was sitting on his golden throne in the palace constructed by the demon Maya. His 4 brothers and other relatives, as well as his great well-wisher Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, were present. And the material opulence of King Yudhishthira seemed no less than that of Lord Brahma. When he was sitting on the throne surrounded by his friends and the reciters were offering prayers to him in the form of nice songs, Duryodhan came to the palace with his younger brothers. Duryodhan was decorated with a helmet, and he carried a sword in his hand. He was always in an envious and angry mood, and therefore, on a slight provocation, he spoke sharply with the doorkeepers and became angry. By the craftsmanship of the demon Maya, the palace was so decorated in different places that one who did not know the tricks would consider water to be land and land to be water. Duryodhan was illusioned by this craftsmanship, and when crossing water, thinking it to be land, he fell in. When Duryodhan, out of his foolishness, had thus fallen, the queens enjoyed the incident by laughing. Srimad Bhagavatam elaborates that also Bhima was laughing. Also, whenever I have seen this portrayed, unfortunately, I am also laughing. King Yudhishthira could understand the feelings of Duryodhan, and he tried to restrain the queens, but Lord Krishna indicated that King Yudhishthira should not restrain them from enjoying this incident. Krishna desired that Duryodhan be fooled in that way, and that all of them enjoy his foolish behavior. When everyone laughed, Duryodhan felt insulted, and his bodily hairs stood up in anger. Being thus insulted, he immediately left the palace, bowing his head. He was silent and did not protest. When Duryodhan left in such an angry mood, everyone regretted the incident, and King Yudhishthira also was very sorry. But despite all these occurrences, Krishna was silent. He did not say anything against or in favor of the incident. It appeared that Duryodhan had been put into illusion by the supreme will of Lord Krishna, and this was the beginning of the enmity between the 2 sects of the Kuru dynasty. This appeared to be a part of Krishna's plan and his mission to decrease the burden of the world. So this incredible wealth, it was already really burning Duryodhana's heart to see the Pandavas flourishing at all, or even just breathing and alive. Yeah, so like Duryodhana already had so much pent up and burning within his heart, and then he had to watch and participate in a whole Rajasuya sacrifice where everyone is proclaiming Yudhishthir to be the Chakravarti, the Samrat, the emperor of all of these kings who had assembled, and then were paying tribute and giving him more wealth than he already had. This was so painful to the heart of Duryodhana. And have we ever caught ourselves in a similar situation where we see that a devotee is flourishing and we can't help it? From inside the heart comes all of this. The green envy starts to arise and bubble up and flourish. Why do they have all of that? You mean to tell me that I only have 309,000 followers, and I know devotees that have over 500,000 followers? I mean, what really are they doing that's different than what I'm doing? I mean, really, are they actually as funny or talented or charismatic or nurturing as I am? Not really. I mean, honestly, like, somebody explain it to me. I mean, it must be a trick of the algorithm, because it can't possibly be that they're just better at my job than I am. Anybody ever had some kind of like a similar reaction? And when I notice those reactions come up, I have realized that the one thing that I have to do, because the first offense against chanting the holy name is to blaspheme, criticize those who have dedicated their lives to the propagation of the holy name of Sri Krishna. And Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has given us a really unique fix for that issue. If we feel as though we have committed this offense, the way to counteract it is to glorify the devotees. So, as my dear brother in service was beginning this meeting, he was reciting all of the names of the assembled Vaishnavas, which in and of itself is such a beautiful, amazing service. This is step one toward endearing Krishna to you further. Just chant the glories of these devotees. So instead, when I see that my mind has arrived on the scene to give me all the reasons why I should be angry about why so many people have many more followers than I do and are not clearly doing a better job at spreading Krishna consciousness than I am, then I start to find all the ways in which they are doing an amazing job. Look at their enthusiasm. Look at their consistency. I don't think anybody knows how difficult it is to do something like that. You are constantly giving. You're constantly in a spotlight, which means you're also primed for constant criticism. Anywhere, everywhere, by people who you trust, people who you love. Look at them putting themselves in harm's way just for Krishna. Wow, Srila Prabhupada, look at your mercy upon this person. Look at how many people have been touched by your mercy thanks to this devotee. And somehow or other, the mind no longer has any cracks in order to jump through. And so, while looking at Yudhishthir's wealth, Duryodhana was not practicing Vaishnav Seva at the moment. And he found it very difficult to stomach even a little bit of this wealth. And so, of course, he was walking through this palace. And Bhagavatam says that there are so many places where Duryodhana would hold the edge of his dhoti thinking, oh no, it's water. But it was actually land. And you know, If you are in New York and you've seen the subway escalators, you have a deep-seated fear of tripping and falling down said escalators. And somehow the fear is not the falling on the escalators that have been walked by countless homeless people with many diseases, right? That's not the fear. The fear is everyone in New York seeing you trip and falling down the escalators and then laughing at you because of it. Anybody who's been in New York knows there are very few things worse than that. Than tripping and falling on a New York street and everyone seeing it. And now, not even because, life is what it is. Now they won't only laugh, but they will make reels about it and videos. And they will go viral. And so many people will use you as an emotion or as a reaction for all time to come. Yikes. So now, imagine egos were bigger 5,000 years ago. People were bigger 5,000 years ago. And now the worst has happened to Duryodhana. Not only did he trip and fall into the water, but everyone saw it. Not only did everybody see it, but his arch nemesis Bhima is laughing, his robust, huge laugh. Ladies are laughing, queens are laughing. Yudhishthira tried as much as he could. He looked at them and really indicated with his eyes, don't laugh. But Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that Krishna indicated with a movement of his eyebrows, let it be. Oh no! Oh, this is the worst thing that could have ever happened. As if the wealth was not bad enough. As if participating in a Rajasuya Yajna was not bad. As if watching one of your allies, Shishupal, killed. As if all of this wasn't bad enough. Now, Duryodhana has been personally insulted. Oh, this is terrible. And so it seems as though Krishna decided that the enmity of the Kurus and the Pandavas was something that he wanted to use. Therein lies our surrender. Yudhishthira wasn't happy about it. No one was actually really happy about it. They didn't want to make him feel bad, but I can only imagine it really must have been the most comical thing anyone has ever seen. He's this big, strong warrior, He's got grace. He's got training in warrior skills, and he's been fighting all of his life. And he's got to walk with some charm and charisma. He was not a bad-looking person. Duryodhana was very charismatic and very, very handsome. And imagine, you're walking and he's face first, belly flop, smack in the middle of a pond. Okay, what was the pond doing in the middle of the floor? Yes. But also, I'd be hard-pressed to think that any of us could have kept in the laughter. But oh, poor Duryodhana. In this moment, he has been humbled even by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Somehow or other, I pray that even my shameful moments are part of God's plan. That is my only hope of recovering my life after such an incident. I can only pray that my most shameful moments are also a part of Krishna's plan. And so Yudhishthira had untold amounts of wealth in the form of Krishna's association. And he had all of this material wealth. And sometimes we think, are devotees meant to have such material wealth? I'm glad you all asked. I know you don't think you asked, but you asked. Herein brings us to the story of Ekadashi. Yudhishthira Maharaj said, using his wealth in the form of the constant association of Shri Krishna, O Janardhan, O protector of all beings, what is the name of the Ekadashi that comes during the dark fortnight, Krishna Paksh, of the month of Kartik, October, November? Please impart this sacred knowledge to me. The Supreme Lord Sri Krishna then spoke as follows. O lion among kings, please listen as I narrate to you. The Ekadashi that occurs during the dark part of the month of Kartik is called Rama Ekadashi. It is most auspicious, for it at once eradicates the greatest sins and awards one the passage to the spiritual abode. I shall now narrate to you its history and glories. There once lived a famous king of the name Muchakunda, who was friendly to Lord Indra, the king of the heavenly planets, as well as with Yamaraj, Varuna, and Vibhishan, the pious brother of the demon Ravan. Muchakunda always spoke the truth and constantly rendered devotional service to me, because this is Krishna speaking. Because he ruled according to religious principles, there were no disturbances in his kingdom. Muchakunda's daughter was named Chandrabhaga, after a sacred river, and the king gave her in marriage to Shobana, the son of Chandrasena. One day, Shobana visited his father-in-law's palace on the auspicious Ekadashi day. This visit made Shobana's wife Chandrabhaga quite anxious, for she knew that her husband was physically very weak and unable to bear the austerity of a day-long fast. She said to him, "My father is very strict about following Ekadashi." Same. On Dasami, the day before Ekadashi, he strikes a large kettle drum and announces, "Nobody should eat on Ekadashi, the sacred day of Sri Hari." Wow. I don't usually beat on a kettle drum, but I do announce it on Instagram, which is kind of the same thing. When Shobana heard the sound of the kettle drum, he said to his wife, "Oh, beautiful one, what am I to do now? Please tell me how I can save my life and obey your father's strictness and at the same time satisfy our guests." Chandrabhaga then spoke, "My dear husband, in my father's house, nobody, not even the elephants or horses, what to speak of consenting human beings, eats on Ekadashi. Indeed, none of the animals are given their ration of grains, leaves, or straw, or even water on Ekadashi, the sacred day of Sri Hari. So how can you escape fasting? My beloved husband, if you must eat something, then you should leave here at once. Now, with firm conviction, decide on what you have to do." Prince Shobana then said, "I have decided to fast on the sacred Ekadashi day. Whatever my fate is, it will surely come to pass." Deciding thus, Shobana attempted to fast on this Ekadashi, but he became unbearably disturbed with excessive hunger and thirst. Eventually, the sun set in the west, and the arrival of the auspicious night made all the Vaishnavas very happy. O Yudhishthir, all the devotees enjoyed worshipping me, Sri Hari, and remaining awake all throughout the night. But Prince Shobana that night became absolutely unbearable. Now imagine, Sri Krishna himself is remembering the story of the Prince Shobana. Imagine if we somehow just made a little endeavor and fasted on Ekadashi, and one day Sri Krishna will be telling our story about somehow or other we were able to please him. Imagine, simply by performing this devotional service, we become immortal. Our wealth doesn't always lie in the material benefits, but it relies in somehow or other pleasing the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And when Krishna is pleased, he remembers us forever. So, Prince Shobana became absolutely unbearable. Indeed, when the sun rose on the Dwadasi, that Prince Shobana was dead. King Muchakunda observed his son-in-law's funeral, ordering a large stack of wood to be assembled for the fire, but he instructed his daughter Chandrabhaga not to join her husband on the funeral pyre. Thus Chandrabhaga, after performing all the purificatory processes and procedures for honoring her deceased husband, continued to live in her father's house. Lord Sri Krishna continued, "O best of the kings, Yudhishthir, even though Shobana died because of observing Rama Ekadashi, the merit that he accrued enabled him, after his death, to become the ruler of a kingdom high on the peak of Mandarachala mountain. This kingdom was like a city of the demigods, very lustrous, with unlimited jewels set in the walls of its buildings that gave off light. The pillars were made of rubies and gold inlaid with diamonds shone everywhere. As King Shobana sat upon a throne beneath a pure white canopy, servants fanned him with yak-tail whisks, or chamara fans. And I can only imagine that Krishna is looking fondly at Yudhishthir, who has almost the same kind of wealth. And he got it simply by Krishna's association. A stunning crown rested upon his head. Beautiful earrings adorned his ears. A necklace graced his throat, and bejeweled armlets and bracelets encircled his arms. He was served by Gandharvas, the best of heavenly singers, and Apsaras, celestial dancers. Verily, he resembled a second Indra. One day, a Brahmin named Somasharma, who lived in Muchakunda's kingdom, happened upon Shobana's kingdom while traveling to various places of pilgrimage. The Brahmin saw Shobana in all his resplendent glory and thought he might be the son-in-law of his own king, Muchakunda. When Shobana saw the Brahmin approaching, he immediately rose up from his seat and welcomed him. After Shobana had paid his respectful obeisances, he asked the Brahmin about his well-being and about the health and welfare of his father-in-law, his wife, and all the residents of the city. Somasharma then said, "O king, all the residents and subjects are well in your father-in-law's kingdom, and Chandrabhaga and your other family members are also quite well. Peace and prosperity reign throughout the kingdom. But there is one thing. I am quite astonished to find you here. Please tell me about yourself. Nobody has seen such a beautiful city. Kindly tell me how you obtained it." King Shobana then began to tell his story. "Because I observed the Rama Ekadashi, I was given this splendid city to rule over. But for all of its grandeur, it is only temporary. I beg you to do something to correct this deficiency. You see, this is only an ephemeral city, a place of this material world. How may I make its beauties and glories permanent? Kindly reveal this to me by your instructions." The Brahmin then asked, "Why is this kingdom unstable, and how will it become stable? Please fully explain this to me, and I shall try to help you." Shobana then answered, "Because I fasted on the Rama Ekadashi without any faith, this kingdom is impermanent. Now hear how it can become permanent." I like how Shobana asked for a remedy and then told the answer to the remedy. "Please return to Chandrabhaga, the beautiful daughter of King Muchakunda, and tell her what you have seen and understood about this place and about me. Surely, if you, a pure-hearted Brahmana, tells her this, my city will soon become permanent." Thus the Brahmin returned to his city and related the entire episode to Chandrabhaga, who was both surprised and overjoyed to hear this news of her husband. She said, "O Brahmin, is this a dream you have seen, or is it actually a factual thing?" Somasharma, the Brahmin, replied, "O princess, I have seen your late husband face to face in that wonderful kingdom which resembles a realm of the denizens of heaven's playground. But your former husband has asked me to relate to you that he says his kingdom is unstable and could vanish into thin air at any moment. Therefore, he hopes you can find a way to make it permanent." Chandrabhaga then said, "O sage among the Brahmanas, please take me to that place where my husband resides at once, for I greatly desire to see him again. Surely, I shall make this kingdom permanent with the merit that I have acquired by fasting on every Ekadashi throughout my life. Please reunite us at once again. It is said that one who reunites separated persons also obtains very great merit." The humble Brahmin Somasharma then led Chandrabhaga to Shobana's effulgent kingdom. Before reaching it, however, they stopped at the foot of Mount Mandrachala, at the sacred ashram of the rishi Vamadev. Upon hearing their story, Vamadev chanted hymns from the Vedas and sprinkled holy water from his arghya upon Chandrabhaga. By the influence of that great rishi's rites, the merit she had accrued by fasting for so many Ekadashis made her body transcendental. Ecstatic, her eyes beaming in wonder, Chandrabhaga continued on her journey. When Shobana saw his wife approaching him high on Mount Mandrachala, he was overwhelmed with joy and called out to her in great happiness and jubilation. After she arrived, He seated her on his left side, and she said to him, "O dearest Patiguru, please listen as I tell you something that will benefit you greatly. Since I was 8 years old, I have fasted regularly and with full faith on every Ekadashi. If I transfer to you all the merit I have accumulated, your kingdom will surely become permanent, and its prosperity will grow and grow until the coming of the great inundation." Lord Sri Krishna then continued to address Yudhishthir as follows. "O Yudhishthir, in this way, Chandrabhaga, who was beautifully decorated with the finest ornaments and had an exquisitely transcendental body, at last enjoyed peace and happiness with her husband. By the potency of Rama Ekadashi, Shobhana found his kingdom on the peaks of Mount Mandarachala, able to fulfill all his desires and bestow upon him everlasting happiness, like that achieved from the transcendental Kamadhenu milk cow. O greatest of rishis, O greatest of kings, I have thus narrated to you the glories of Rama Ekadashi that falls in the dark fortnight of the month of Kartik. Anyone who observes sacred Ekadashi during both the light and dark fortnight of each month is undoubtedly freed from the reactions to the sin of even killing a Brahmin. One should not differentiate between the Ekadashis of the light and dark parts of the month. As we have seen, both can award pleasure in this world and liberate even the most sinful and fallen souls, just as black cows and white cows give equally good quality milk. So the Ekadashis of the dark fortnight, Krishna Paksh, and the light fortnight, Shukla or Gora Paksh, award the same high degree of merit and eventually liberate one from the repeated cycle of birth and death. Anyone who simply hears this narration of the glories of the sacred day of Rama Ekadashi is freed from all kinds of sin and attains the supreme abode of Lord Vishnu. Thus ends the narration for the glories of the sacred Kartik Krishna Ekadashi, or Rama Ekadashi, from the Brahma Vaivarta Purana of Srila Krishna Dvaipayana Vedvyas. So not only will we gain untold wealth, but we can also give in charity. And one of the greatest ways of giving in charity, we can give the merits that we've obtained by this Ekadashi, which also still never leave us because that's Krishna. We can also give our priceless association, especially during Kartik. In so many of the glories of Kartik Mas, or the month of Kartik, it is stated that Vaishnavas should gather together, especially in the evenings, and delight one another just by conversing about Krishna. Speak the glories, read to one another, discuss even how Duryodhana fell face first into the pond of water that was in the floor at Yudhishthira Maharaj's wonderful palace in Indraprasth. Discuss these Mahabharata tales. Discuss about the vast wealth that Yudhishthira Maharaj had, not because of anything other than Krishna's association. Let us all discuss about the incredible, incomprehensible friendship that Krishna had with Yudhishthira Maharaj. This is a friendship that has baffled the entire universe. Hanuman himself is baffled. We hear from the pages of Brihad Bhagavatamrita. Hanuman is telling Narada, I have done some service for Sri Ram, but there, Krishna is the servant of his servants. Because of his boundless love for Yudhishthira Maharaj, he has decided to take the post of washing the feet of guests who arrive at his kingdom. Who can fathom the glory of the friendship between Krishna and Yudhishthira? What great wealth we have in the form of Bhagavad Gita, in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam, in the form of Mahabharata, in the form of the glories of Ekadashi. What great wealth we have in the form of the association with Srila Prabhupada, in the form of the association with dear disciples of Srila Prabhupada, in the form of the association of dear Vaishnavas, aspiring Vaishnavas, those who wish to somehow fall under the shadow of a Vaishnava. We are so incredibly wealthy. So today, on Ekadashi, fast with a joyful heart, with faith. It gives untold benefits. And besides the benefits, which sometimes, once we've understood the wealth that we've gotten, what's another kingdom? Except for more taxes. Right? What's another kingdom? But when we understand the wealth that we've been given in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam, in the form of Bhagavad Gita, in the form of the very words of Shri Krishna, then we're fasting on Ekadashi, not because it's good for science, not because it might be great for the body, not because it might give us a kingdom, and not might, it definitely will give us a kingdom some way, somehow. But we begin fasting because when Srimati Radharani was asked, how do you bring Krishna under your control? She very shyly replied that all she had done was follow the Ekadashi Vrat, the promise of fasting on Ekadashis. So now we can perform this fast because it brings pleasure to the hearts of Shri Shri Radha Govinda, Shri Shri Radha Murlida, Shri Shri Radha Damodar. This is Radharani's own process of worship. Fasting on Ekadashis and chanting the holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Ekadashi Vrat ki jai. Shri Kartik Mas ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Murlidhara ki jai. Ananta Kuti Vaishnava Vrindi ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thanks for bearing with me.
Thank you, Trita Gopi, for reminding us how wealthy we are.
So wealthy.
So wealthy. Living in the house that Srila Prabhupada built, where there's a room for everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, dear devotees, time to reflect. We have something in the chat, Trita Gopi. I was so confused because there are so many gurus in ISKCON. I didn't know who to take shelter of Hare Krishna. I like many of them, but I don't know which way to go, says Narottam Nitai. Do you have any advice for Narottam Nitai, Trita Gopi?
Well, Narottam Nitai
Do
actually...
you accept disciples? Maybe it's intimate.
Narottam Nitai has already been initiated. But the answer to his question is actually in his own name. Gaur Govinda Maharaj always said, we take shelter of Lord Nityananda. We cry for his mercy. He is Guru Tattva. He is the origin of all of our gurus and spiritual teachers. You pray to Krishna, and so he said, Krishna gives you Guru, and then Guru gives you Krishna. And so anytime we have ever felt this kind of confusion, which is very, very common, so don't feel left out, Narottam Nitai Prabhu. This confusion actually happens to almost everyone that I've ever spoken to. We just pray with a sincere heart. Oh my Lord, I want to find a teacher and I don't want to be cheated. Gaur Govinda Maharaj always encouraged us to pray like this. I want to find my teacher and I don't want to be cheated. And Krishna responds. So Krishna will give us Guru, and then Guru will joyfully give us Krishna. And when in doubt, because so many people were asking Srila Prabhupada, I was listening to a conversation, and they were asking Srila Prabhupada over and over, do Muslims and Christians, do they have to convert? Or can they chant Allah or Jehovah or Jesus? Can they chant their name of God? Or do they have to convert? Srila Prabhupada said, if you have got a name of God, he said, then you chant that name of God. We are just giving the principle. The principle is chant the name of God. If you have a name of God, chant it, no problem. He said, but if you find yourself without, and you don't have one, then we say here, kindly, take my Krishna. I have a name of God for you. I have a form of God. We know his address and his whereabouts. So you kindly take it, and then you chant this name. If you don't have any other name. But if you have one, with all your heart you chant it, no problem. So that has always been so encouraging for me, just to see how open and accepting and and not gatekeeping at all Srila Prabhupada was. So you can always ask Srila Prabhupada for advice. And if we are listening closely, then we'll always be able to hear his responses. We have another question in the chat. Let's see. You said anyone who just hears this katha on Ekadashi will be sure to find eternal home in Vishnu's abode. Is that a euphemism, or we believe it to be true? Because if it's true, then we have already attained the best. Then why do anything else after that? Yeah, that's a great question. It is not a euphemism. It is not hyperbole. It is not just a, oh, by the by. It is not a allegory or an analogy. This is absolutely, actively the truth. Now the question is, why do anything more? Why chant? Why continue to do any devotional service? Why do any of that? You ever get a really, really nice house and you're in it by yourself and you're miserable? You ever go on a retreat and you think, I'm going to go into nature and I'm going to rent the nicest Airbnb that has ever been rented and I'm going to do all the things, and you get there and you're by yourself and you're miserable? That's why. Because wherever you go, there you are. And I know that even in the spiritual abode, we have to serve someone. And the minute we start desiring to serve our senses more, that's where the mind jumps in and gets us. It starts to rob us of all of the wealth that we have obtained. So why do we continuously fast on Ekadashis if we've already gained the merits from the last Ekadashi? Because I know during these 2 weeks, oh, my mind turns into a demon. My mind turns into Duryodhana times 108. And it every day tries to tell me all of the reasons why I should be jealous and envious and lusty and angry and greedy and mad and in illusion. And anybody who saw the Age of Kali play that happened at the Brooklyn Radha Govinda Mandir yesterday will understand. My mind turns into all of the enemies. Every single one of them. In between these 2 weeks. So somehow or other, I am trying to corral my mind and bring it back. I am trying my absolute hardest during these 2 weeks between, from Ekadashi to Ekadashi, I'm like holding on for dear life. And if anybody else feels like they're holding on for dear life between Ekadashis, you are not alone. And so I need that constant service. I need to serve my best friend. To remember that it's not all about me. To remember that simply my happiness, my receiving whatever I want, is not what this is all about. I'm supposed to be bringing joy to the senses of Krishna. Govinda is one who gives pleasure to the senses. But when will I desire to give pleasure to Krishna's senses? When will I desire to be enjoyed by Krishna? Srila Prabhupada uses that phrase several times, and he uses it a lot within Krishna book. To be enjoyed by Krishna. That is the mood of the Brijabasis, and that is the mood of the Gopis of Vrindavan. That we are simply desiring now. I've spent so long, we hear Govindadas Kaviraj says, I've spent so long serving miserly, wicked people. Miserly people, which means you have your wealth and you hold on to it, you gatekeep it, you tell no one. We don't want to be like that with our wealth, which is why Srila Prabhupada was going everywhere he could, trying to give this wealth of Krishna consciousness. So, Govindadas Kaviraj says, I've served miserly people for so long. Even my own senses, my mind and senses are miserly people. Holding on to this wealth, thinking it's only for me. And what I want and what I desire and the riches that I've gained, that's it. That's all there is. When will I desire to stop serving miserly, wicked people and simply desire to serve Krishna, to be enjoyed by Krishna? And so that's why I do anything else or everything else. I'm trying to accrue as much good favor as I can to somehow combat my mind when my mind says it's all about you. And it's, no, wait, but look, when I make it all about Krishna, look at how he transforms my life. Oh, my dear mind, just see one time the miracles that Krishna has performed in my life.
Thank you. Interesting, Gopi. Anybody has a question, maybe? It's 8:02. Padamulidhar may appear any minute. How do we continuously perform plays in service of Krishna and Srila Prabhupada in our temples? So much fun, Hare Krishna. More importantly, kirtan many times a week. Really appreciate hearing from you. That's why I'm asking many questions, says Narottam Nitai. Kirtan every day, right?
I mean.
Yeah. Breathing is every day. Eating is every day. So many things we do every day, so why not kirtan?
And I think that, we complicate it in our minds. We think, oh, I have to get together with this person and this person and this person. I have a kirtan every day in my house because I walk around singing. Just stop in front of your deities and clap and sing, and you've performed kirtan every day. And so Srila Prabhupada encouraged us to make our homes like temples, because we should have this spiritual energy surrounding us at all times. So how do we continuously perform plays in the service of Krishna? One day, I was in Vrindavan visiting my friends, and we sat down together, and we just read about how Madhavendra Puri met Nitai. And two of my friends, one friend and Nandi, acted it out, and I read the pastime. And we simply had a good time putting on background music, reading from Chaitanya Bhagavat, and acting it out for each other.
Narottam Nitai Prabhu, as she gives class, you should act it out. Turn on your camera. Every point that Shuta Gopi makes, act it out. Okay, darshan time.
Jai Shri Shri Radha Muralidhara Ki Jai. Jai. Wow, on YouTube, someone is saying that Krishna says always be ready to survive alone, because some people suddenly change your behavior. Today you're important to them and tomorrow you're nothing to them. That's the reality of life. I would like to know the scriptural evidence for that. Krishna actually says we are never, ever, ever alone. He is always there within the heart as Paramatma. So that is not true. Your association is actually everything. Our association really creates an environment for the mind. So I say, choose your association wisely. And when you find the association of devotees, it doesn't matter if today you're important, tomorrow, never let them go. When you find the association of devotees, you hang on to it and you never ever let them go, because that means that Krishna is not far behind. And when you have the association of devotees, then Krishna says, my mercy follows the mercy of my devotees. I must go wherever my Vaishnavas have given their mercy. So I say, run to those places where there are Vaishnavas. You don't ever have to be alone. You don't ever have to feel alone. And then if you feel like you're alone, you come online and you find a lecture like this. And so if you want to be alone, why are you online? Right? Like that's a very interesting question. If you think you should always be alone and be ready to just serve alone, then why are you online? Shouldn't you be alone in a cave meditating? Kind of works against everything that you think is happening. So, so dumb. It's like the problem is I want to be important. That's not a problem. That's actually a really great thing. And the way that we can be important is just by loving Krishna and loving Krishna in the association of each other. So find the tribe. Find those people that you can love Krishna with. And sometimes it takes a while. It doesn't always happen immediately. So find the people that you can love Krishna with. And you will always be important. I guarantee you, you're important to me right now, just for showing up, just for being here on this Ekadashi day, and just for giving your attention. Your attention is something that is so valuable. So many people are thinking about where they spend their attention. So you are so important because you have spent your attention here. You have made a choice. And I thank you so much for making that choice.
Thank you. Thank you, Shishivana Muladhar. Thank you, Shiguru Chandra. Thank you, Achita Gopi. Achita Gopi, you have a few minutes to stay for the afterglow?
Sure.
Okay. Does anyone have a reflection or a question? Ishwar Sundari? Okay, she's driving, no problem.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, we are encouraging the wrong things.
Yeah. Okay, Naratamnita Prabhu already asked his questions. Let's see. How about Karen and her crew? Any questions from Isaiah or Annabelle? Any reflections, maybe?
We're the cat. We're all just feeling wealthy. That's all. It's a perfect time to feel wealthy. And, sometimes it's so nice just to let everything sink in, settle, and sit with us during the day.
Yeah.
Sometimes
I really like the point where he said, fast for Ekadashi and your kingdom will be permanent. I was like, yes, Chin Hare Krishna, and that's the permanent kingdom. That's our permanent zip code, Kirtan. It's not going to change. Cool. All right. Then happy Monday, everybody. Do not be discouraged. I remember Chitta Gopi once said, oh, it's February, nothing to look forward to, but still, I'm going to go on with my service. Right? It's kind of chilly outside, but we have so much to look forward to. So much service needs to be done in Lord Chaitanya's movement. So much fasting has to be done. Right? So much purification. Thank you, Chitta Gopi, for this alignment. Okay, have a wonderful day, everybody. We love you. We need you. Isaiah, come closer. Karen, unmute and let Isaiah do his thing.